unveiling overlooked misogyny in mass shootings beyond just mental health narratives.
Linking it to mental health issues a lot, and they don't point out the misogynistic element to that's related to that a lot of times. And the reason why this could be important is because, for example, if you have a history of beating women or domestic violence, the gun, when you're trying to get a gun, it's important to know that, especially if
Mm.
50%, as high as 50% of mass shootings in the US between 2009 and 2016 were done by people who had a history of that. That's a huge marker. That's a huge
It is.
indicator. Yeah.
It's a
So,
huge red flag. So, like, if we want to deal with the ideology, first of all, we need to foster spaces, healthy physical spaces for young people to engage, interact, meet. We do need some kind of governance structures for online spaces that have clear guidelines about this type of behavior is not appropriate. It's up to individual websites to decide what their guidelines are and where the
right,
red lines are.
right.
And so we need to have, a systematic approach to that. And actually, I think the UN just passed their Pact for the Future, and part of it had a digital aspect to it, where they're talking about governance of the online spaces, because they know that there's these spaces should be places for connection, not radicalization. So we need
Right.
to do that. We need to support people. I do think mental health care is a big part of it, but also supporting individuals that might have social cognitive challenges so that they can meaningfully interact. I'm in Australia, which has fairly good healthcare system and support for people like
Yeah.
that. But I know in lots of places in America, that's not a luxury that people have. There isn't those support networks for people who are struggling, particularly kids and young people, just aren't there. You can't afford to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It's far too much money. Your insurance doesn't cover it, or you don't have insurance. And those things would go a long way towards alleviating sort of the push factors that drive people into this ideology and help them have meaningful lives because they're able to connect with people.